I have a question for you. Which is hardest for you to say? A, I apologize. B, I need help. C, I love you. And D, I was wrong. For me, it's definitely B, I need help. And D, I was wrong. I needed help when I was much younger, in my late 20s or early 30s. I was a struggling musician. I was playing gigs, trying to secure myself, to gain money, to make money, or to promote myself as a musician. But maybe it was because I wasn't so gifted or I wasn't so lucky. But anyway, I was some kind of stuck in the rut, I would say. I would struggle to find performances, or I would struggle to get more students who I could teach them to play the electric guitar. And as I entered my early 30s, I was kind of nervous because I need some breakthroughs, because I know as I grow older, my chance of making it is getting narrower and narrower. And I was struggling both financially and both in terms of my ambition as a young musician to become someone else, right? So I needed help, and but maybe it's a cultural thing. I live in Taiwan, and in our culture, usually you don't show your fragile side, right? I was kind of ashamed to talk about with people, to talk about my insecurities and talk about my imposter syndrome and talk about my worries about the future, and particularly to the family or to my friends or even to my girlfriend, who later became my wife. I was very conservative in showing my true worries, and I was ashamed, actually. And I did went to see a psychological clinics. It wasn't necessarily a shrink, but it's a clinic where I confessed to the doctor I need help, and I took some pills, and I made some lifestyle changes, and later my career changes, which dramatically transformed my life into another direction, which we could share some other time. What I'm saying is that maybe in the United States or in Europe, it's very common for people to admit that they see a shrink, they see a doctor for their mental situations. But for me, it was like a secret, and I was ashamed to mention that. Even when I tell my loved ones, they didn't provide much support. They thought you are the man, you needed to be strong, to be affirmative, right? To have your own thoughts, to have the confidence. So I kind of kept that as a secret, and it's buried in the depths of my mental past. So even though I become more optimistic and become more bright and happier, generally speaking, in my age, I try not to mention that I needed help that time. And my loved one would say, you were just pretended to be fragile, and you are trying to run away from many of the challenges of life. So you have to straighten up and face it on your own, which is also correct. But when you are in some kind of a mental trap, then you really needed some assistance to come out, to have some help, to help you recover and become whole. So that was B. This is hardest for me to say I need help. Even though I am in my mid-40s, I still struggle to admit and to be honest to the world I need help. And the other one is D, I was wrong. Yeah, as a man, um, this is the challenge to me. I have a big ego, and I observe my ego, and I understand my ego is fragile, and my ego is pretending to be strong, or like trying to be omnipotent, like someone who is always gonna find always right, right? So the ego is fragile, and I can know its tricks. I can reveal its tricks, but still, sometimes it takes over myself. So it's really difficult for me to admit I was wrong, and I needed to make some changes. I needed to try a different approach, or to accept other people's criticism. I would say this is truly an honesty where you have a conversation with yourself. And I once heard one expression is that for the ego, admitting it is wrong is like a death to the ego. So that was quite a revelation to me, that it is just like a very shallow shield of my personality. And once you reveal that, you know you are not perfect. You're just faking it to be perfect. You're just faking you're strong and potent and knows everything, right? So as I continue my life journey, I become more vulnerable in a way that I would admit that I don't know, or I need to grow, or I will leverage your help or your advice so I can improve myself. And that was a big improvement and change for myself. So right now, I'm kind of trying to admit as frequently as possible if I find I really am wrong, and I would open to suggestions or advice from people around me, my colleagues, my loved ones, or maybe even from the internet, right? So D, I was wrong. And the other two, I think it's not difficult for me. A, I apologize. Yeah, once I admit I was wrong, then I'm willing to apologize. And C, I love you. In Taiwan, it is not uncommon for people my generation to express their love or their gratitude or expressions to their loved ones, their spouse, or even like parents or something. So this wasn't too difficult to myself, but I know it is difficult for people from certain culture, right? So what do you think? Which one is the hardest for you to say? Tell me which one it is. And if you would like to say any of these things to your loved ones or to anyone, then definitely leave in the comments. I would be happy to learn from you and to hear your experience. I'll talk to you next time. My name is Basement.